Welcome to the 5th Keystone video in my Algebra 1 series for 2018. This one has to do with functions, relations, and slope, so I hope you reviewed those before you came to this video. Question number 1. Chef Bailey measured the internal temperature of a whole chicken during the first 60 minutes of cooking time. The pattern in the temperature she measured is shown in the table below. So the cooking time in minutes, that's our x value. Our temperatures, our output, is our y value. And you can see that on the graphs. Cooking time is on the x, temperature is on the y. The pattern continues, so which graph best represents the pattern? Each of these inputs, each of these values represents a point on the graph. So 1580 is a point on our graph. So let's make sure that our graph contains that point. So 15 is halfway between 10 and 30, and 80 is there. So that one is good. The next point is 30, 100. So 30, 100 is right there, not A. Let's check out B. So 15, 80 is there. 30, 100, so that one's good. The next one is 45, 120, and the last one is 60, 140. So B checks out. Let's just verify the other ones. So we have 1580, and that's nowhere even close on C, so that one's not good. And 1580 is right there, and 30, 100 is right there, so obviously it's not on D. Those points are best represented on B. So that's the correct answer for this one. Question number 2. Which set of ordered pairs is a function? So this one asks us to remember what a function is. So a function is a relation where each x only has one y value. In this case, what we want to do is we want to check for different x values. In A, we have -8 twice as our x value, and we have different y values. So that throws out A as a function. B, again, we have a pair of 2's as our x values, but 4 and 6 are both different y values, so that we can ignore B. In C, same thing. We have 2 values of 1 as our x value, but different y values, so C is not correct. If you look at D, each of the x values is different. So we have -1, 0, 1, and 2. Therefore, that one is our function. Okay, so remember, each input only has one output in order to have a function. Question 3. Laura drove her car on 3 trips. She began each trip with a full tank of fuel in her car. The table below shows the relation between the distance driven on each trip and the amount of fuel remaining in the car's fuel tank at the end of the trip. So our distance is our input, and our amount of fuel is our output. Probably you want to label your tables if you get them on the Keystone exams with our input and output, so you can figure that out. Our question for this one says, what is the range of the relation in the table before? Range is another word for output. In other words, that's our y value. So our range in the table are specifically 15, 10, and 8. When we list them, we want to make sure we list them in order. So 8, 10, and 15, so A is the correct answer. B happens to be the input. Another name for input is domain. C could have been the range if we had specified that there might be other values, but in this case it just said the relation in the table. Okay, so A would be the correct answer for this one. Next question. A function of x is graphed on the coordinate plane below. So which table represents the function? In order to look at the function in a little bit more detail, why don't we double check the slope? Okay, so let's find the slope. There's a point on our line. Here's another point on our line. Notice our line goes down, so our slope is negative. If we box count, 1, 2, 3, 4, so down 4, 1, 2, 2 to the right. So that means my slope is -2. So let's check out our slope in each of our tables. So we have in table 1, it looks like we go down 4 for each of those, and we go up 2, so that means our slope is -4/2 or -2, just like our graph. So A is still a possibility. We can look at C as well. We definitely go down, we're going up 2 in our x's, and we're going down 4. So again, our slope is -2 or -4/2, which is -2. So C is again a possibility. If we look at B, it actually looks like this time we're decreasing by 12 in our y, and we're increasing by 2. So -12/2 is -6, so B is not the correct answer. If we look at D, we have, it looks like we're decreasing by 6 in our y and increasing by 2 in our x. -6/2 is -3, so D is not the correct answer. So now we can focus on A and C. We want to look for some points on here. So -2, 7, if we graph that, -2, 7 is right here. That's not even on our line, so A is probably not on our graph. As you can see, I added a point here. I added 0, 3, because I subtracted 4 from our y, and I added 2 to our x. So my next point would be 0, 3. 0, 3 is also not on our line, so A is not the correct answer. Let's just verify that D is, or that C is, by doing the same thing. So if I add 2, I get 0. If I subtract 4 from 10, I get 6, and that's how I got my point 0, 6. And that one should be on my line. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is on my line. Yes, yay! So C is the correct answer for that one. For this particular one, it was a matter of looking at the points that are in our table and the points that are in our graph and seeing what matches. So that one shouldn't have been too bad. Question 8, and this is the last one. Martha earns money sewing curtains. She charges a flat fee to meet with a customer and take window measurements at an hourly rate to sew the curtains. The graph below shows the relationship between the time in hours Martha works on the sewing project and the total amount in dollars she charges. Okay, so her time is on the x-axis and the total charge is on the y-axis. So what is the hourly rate that Martha charges for the sewing curtains? Well, rate is another word for slope. If we analyze our graph just a little bit, we see Martha starts at 20, so that really means that Martha charges $20 just to come to your house and take measurements and everything. So the next important information we got a nice point here at 2, 40. Okay, and our other point is at 0, 20. So our slope, if we subtract our 2 points, change in y over change in x, so 40 minus 20 over 2 minus 0 gives us 20 over 2, or 10, and that means that she gives us her hourly rate is $10 for sewing the curtains. I hope that gave you something to think about, and I hope you really study slope, because there's usually a bunch of function and slope questions on the Keystones. Remember to come back and review this video at any time.